What should the Clippers do with Kawhi and Paul George? I need an ISO, put the camera on me right now. Steve Ballmer, the Los Angeles Clippers. Y'all need to force Kawhi Leonard to retire. I'm done. It's over. That wasn't just any hot take, that was Stephen A. Smith, one of the loudest voices in sports media, absolutely burying Kawhi Leonard live on air. That moment, April 23, 2023. But now, fast forward just 2 years, and the same man is on TV saying, Kawhi Leonard looks special right now. He's looking special right now. The same guy who told him to go home is now telling everyone to watch out. So what happened? Did Kawhi suddenly become elite again? Did he rediscover some long-lost form? No. Let's get one thing clear. Kawhi Leonard never fell off. For the last few seasons, Kawhi has been the easy target. He's always injured. He never plays a full season. He's not a leader. Some even called him the worst superstar in the league. But while everyone else was talking, tweeting, and doubting, Kawhi was quietly cooking. This isn't some Hollywood comeback. This isn't some underdog redemption story. This is what greatness looks like when no one's watching. Ever since he joined the Clippers, Kawhi has faced non-stop scrutiny. The injuries, the load management, the playoff flameouts, it's all been thrown at him. And yet, every time he's on the floor, he reminds the world exactly who he is. Whether it's a regular season game or a win-or-go-home playoff showdown, Kawhi delivers. You don't need fiery interviews. You don't need 30-minute podcasts. You don't need social media antics. All you need is that look in his eyes and 94 feet of hardwood. You know what makes Kawhi so dangerous? It's not just the scoring, it's how effortless it looks. It's not just the defense, it's how surgical it is. And it's not just the stats, it's the fact that no matter what's said about him, he just keeps winning. So when Stephen A. flips his stance, when analysts suddenly say, Kawhi is looking like Kawhi again, let's be real, he never stopped. He was elite in 2020. He was elite in 2021. He was elite before the injuries, and he's elite now. This isn't a redemption arc. This is a reminder. Kawhi Leonard didn't come back to greatness. He never left. When Kawhi Leonard made his return late in the season, most people didn't even blink. The headlines were about LeBron. The MVP race was between Jokic, Luka, and Giannis. People were still obsessing over Wemby's height and KD's tweets. But while the NBA world was busy looking elsewhere, Kawhi Leonard was setting the league on fire. Let's talk facts. After missing the first half of the season due to injury, the Clippers were barely hanging on. James Harden, Ivica Zubac, and Norman Powell were keeping the team afloat, doing just enough to stay relevant in the playoff picture. But then, Kawhi came back, and everything changed. In the final 17 games leading up to the playoffs, the Clippers didn't just survive, they exploded. They went 15-2. Let that sink in. 15 wins in 17 games. That's not good. That's championship-level basketball. And guess who was leading that run? Kawhi Leonard, the same man everyone called finished. In that stretch, he averaged 25.5 points per game, 7 rebounds, 3.5 assists, on a shooting split of 53% from the field, 45% from 3, and 83% from the line. That's not just elite, that's efficient dominance. But numbers only tell half the story. What you really need to understand is the impact. Kawhi's plus-minus in those 17 games? Plus 196. That's the third best in the entire NBA. And you know who's second and first? James Harden and Ivica Zubac, his teammates. This isn't a solo act. This is a squad, a fully locked-in Clippers unit, peaking at the right time. But make no mistake, Kawhi is the engine. And if you still had doubts about his form, you got your answer in that do-or-die matchup against the Golden State Warriors, a team that had been red-hot since the All-Star break. Golden State had momentum. They had stars. They had Jimmy Butler. But none of it mattered. Because Kawhi Leonard walked into that arena and dropped 33 points on just 20 shots, leading the Clippers to a massive win and a playoff berth against the Denver Nuggets. And this wasn't some empty stat game. This was vintage Kawhi. We're talking about calculated destruction. Let's break down some of those plays. Early first quarter, he spins off Jimmy Butler like he's a G-League defender and floats it over Draymond Green like it's nothing. Next possession, he gets Buddy Hield on the switch, backs him down, absorbs contact from Steph, and just casually hooks it in. Mid-game, he spots the double team on Zubac, relocates to the wing, and drains the three like he's shooting in practice. Late fourth quarter, crossover, pull-up jumper, splash, right in Draymond's face. It wasn't just scoring, it was surgical execution. And here's the thing people forget. Kawhi doesn't force the game, he bends it to his will. He doesn't trash talk. He doesn't beg for whistles. He just picks you apart, piece by piece, like a robot in sneakers. While the world was hyping up Luka's stepbacks and Tatum's ISO plays, Kawhi was doing everything better, quieter. And if this version of Kawhi stays healthy, forget making noise in the playoffs. They might burn the whole bracket down. Because when he's moving like this, when his legs are under him, when the jumper is falling, when he's locking in on both ends, there isn't a team in the league that wants to see Kawhi Leonard in a 7-game series. Especially not Denver. Especially not after what he just did to Golden State. And especially not with Harden and Zubac playing like all-stars right behind him. This isn't just form. This is a warning. Kawhi Leonard is back. He's locked in. And he's got receipts to cash. If you only watch Kawhi Leonard's box scores, you'll miss the magic. Because the real show, it's in the details. The way he reads a defense. The way he waits, calmly, before destroying whoever's in front of him. The footwork, the timing, the balance, it's all there. But no one talks about it.
Why?
Because Kawhi doesn't dunk over 3 defenders and scream at the crowd. He doesn't drop 45 and then post cryptic tweets. He doesn't go on Instagram Live or talk about legacy after every game. He just works. And right now, he's doing that work at a level that most NBA fans are sleeping on. Let's start with his go-to move. That post-up fadeaway or baby hook, unguardable, unbothered, just smooth. There's something different about watching Kawhi post up. He's not trying to overpower you every time. He's just waiting for you to make the smallest mistake, and when you do, he's already got the shot in the air. He doesn't need space. He just needs a sliver of daylight. And somehow, that's always enough. Over the last 3 years, Kawhi has been shooting over 40% from three-point range, and it's not just catch-and-shoot threes. We're talking about shots off the dribble, shots on the move, step-backs, fadeaways, you name it. And yet, somehow, he still doesn't get mentioned among the league's best shooters. Why is that? Kevin Durant's jumper is poetry. Steph Curry's threes are historic. Paul George's stroke is silky smooth. But Kawhi, he's just as deadly, he's just quiet about it. The truth is, Kawhi doesn't have one signature move. His signature is control. He controls the tempo. He controls the angle. He controls you. It's not just about what shot he takes, it's when he takes it. And that level of composure, that's what makes him one of the most terrifying scorers in basketball. Now let's talk about his handle, something way too many people underestimate. Look, he's not Kyrie. He's not going to break ankles and stare down the crowd. But if you think Kawhi doesn't have a handle, you haven't been watching. Watch him get the ball on the wing. One dribble, hesitation, in and out, into a pull-up. Clean. No wasted motion. No extra flair. Just results. In the game against Golden State, he wasn't just scoring, he was toying with their best defenders. Jimmy Butler tried to body him. Draymond came over to help. Didn't matter. He'd spin off one, shrug off the other, and hit a fadeaway like they weren't even there. Buddy Hield. Too small. Quinton Post. Too slow. Even Jimmy, who's known as a dog on defense, couldn't stop the damage. And here's what makes it worse for the defense. If you try to press him on the perimeter, he'll blow right by you and finish at the rim. If you sag off, he'll shoot over you with sniper accuracy. There's no right answer. He's 6 feet 7 inches, 240 pounds, moves like a guard, finishes like a big, and shoots like a sniper. That's not just a rare combo, that's Hall of Fame material. And yet, somehow, he's still underrated. He doesn't go viral. He doesn't trend. But ask any player in the league, and they'll all tell you the same thing. Kawhi is a problem. And in the playoffs, that problem becomes a full-on nightmare. If you think Kawhi Leonard is just having a hot streak, you haven't been paying attention. Because what we're seeing right now, this isn't some random peak. This is the same guy who's been built for this moment his whole career. Let's go back. In 2019, Kawhi dragged the Raptors, a team nobody picked to win the title, all the way to the top. He took down Joel Embiid with the shot. He dismantled the Bucks. He locked horns with Steph, Draymond, and KD, and walked away with Finals MVP. He didn't do it with big speeches or flashy celebrations. He did it with ice-cold precision and a look on his face like he was just clocking in for another shift at work. That's the thing about Kawhi. He plays like someone who doesn't care about the spotlight, but always shows up when it's the brightest. And now, he's doing it again. Let's talk numbers again, not just this season, but his overall playoff resume. From 2019 to 2023, excluding last year when he couldn't physically play, Kawhi averaged 30 points per game, nearly 9 rebounds, 4.5 assists, all on his signature elite efficiency. And when you factor in his post-game, his mid-range mastery, his strength, footwork, touch, his ability to take over late in close games, it's no surprise why teams fear him in a playoff series. Now add this. He's not doing it alone. James Harden, quietly hooping like it's 2018 again. Ivica Zubac, anchoring the paint with all-star energy. Norman Powell, microwave scorer off the bench. Ty Lue, one of the sharpest playoff minds in the league. This isn't just a hot team. This is a problem for the entire Western Conference. And that brings us to Denver. A lot of people have been saying, the Clippers are a better matchup for the Nuggets than Minnesota. Really? Have you seen what Kawhi just did to Golden State? Have you seen how he's moving? How locked in he is? This isn't a favorable matchup. This is a full-on warning. Kawhi Leonard is healthy. Kawhi Leonard is rested. Kawhi Leonard is ready. And when that version of Kawhi shows up, there is no matchup advantage. There is no game plan. There is no hope unless you match his calm, calculated chaos possession by possession. The media gave up on him. The fans wrote him off. Even Stephen A. Smith, who once told him to retire, is now backpedaling. But Kawhi didn't care then. He doesn't care now. He's not chasing clout. He's not chasing MVP votes. He's chasing one thing, and it fits on his finger. A ring. I'm just glad he didn't retire. Because what we're about to witness in these playoffs might be his coldest run yet.